you're gearing up for TEF or TCF exam, you know that nailing the listening section is super important. But let's be real. Listening in French is basically like trying to catch water with sieve. Sometimes it's really hard. I can understand, especially at the B1 and B2 level. Don't worry though, I've got you covered in this video. Salut, I am Akshara and I cleared the TEF Canada exam from scratch in 13 months. And in this channel, I talk all about French language, TEF and TCF Canada exam, and the Canadian immigration. So if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button below as I will be posting content every single week. In this video, I'll be talking about some effective strategies to help you get better at listening in French. Now let's just dive right into the video. First thing is the daily French immersion. Now, I know you would have probably heard this a million times, but daily exposure to French is really the key. But here's the thing, immersion doesn't just mean that you're forcing yourself to sit through a really boring news report or a podcast every day. But what you can do is you can find a podcast or a radio show that matches your interest. It could be about French culture, comedy, or even crime. The goal here is to make sure that you are learning, listening through an enjoyable way, and you're not just zoning out. Podcasts like Inner French wasn't really my thing. It's definitely a great podcast, but if you are, someone who is looking for something more native, then you can try Le Monde on podcast or France Inter and things like that. Next is create a playlist of French songs. Listen to the lyrics and maybe even try to identify the lyrics and try to look up the words that you don't understand. I know that singing along might feel pretty silly, but it's a really good way for those sounds and those intonations for them to get stuck in your mind. It will keep running in your mind and you will start being able to identify the words clearly. Like so many times I have been singing lyrics assuming it is some word for a long time, and then way later I come to realize, oh okay, this is the word actually, when I keep saying the same word and then I understand, okay, this is what it is. So I would definitely suggest you to try this. Artists like Stromae, Kids United, Indila, they are some good choices because they have some clear lyrics, and you can use that for your benefit. Next, you should, like I would say, you have to try this out, that you subscribe to French YouTubers who talk about different topics, whether it is travel, lifestyle, gaming, whatever it is, whatever that you have interests on. I would suggest you subscribe to YouTube and Instagram channels so that you're constantly surrounded by the language in the fields that you are interested with, which will also help you develop thematic vocabulary. Because if you are able to listen to a lot of sports podcasts, then you start picking up on that. Or if it's anything related to health, then you will be acquainted with health related vocabulary, so on and so forth. Here are some YouTube channels that I absolutely recommend, which is really informative and entertaining. One would be Cyprien, or Norma Fede Video, Hugo de Crypt. These are some really good YouTube channels that I would really suggest you to start following. Next, I would for sure recommend this is Set Jour sur la Planète. This is a show from TV Saint Mon that you can find on YouTube, and this is specifically designed for French learners, and I think it's a great resource for TEF and TCF exam. I religiously recommend this channel because I think it helps you with all of the four sections, and these topics that you see the videos on are really in line with the themes that will appear in TEF or TCF exam. Things like health, education, family. These are very similar to the kind of audios that you get during your exam. So I think you will get very well acquainted to it. Next, I suggest that you do a lot of targeted practice. You should literally listen like a detective. When you're at the B1 and B2 level, it's time to get a little more strategic with your listening. You're not just listening for fun anymore, but you're also trying to catch the nuance, the intonation, the kind of stress, accent, all of these things. And all of these things are happening subconsciously. You do not realize it actively, but all these things are happening at the back of your mind. So I would suggest that you start with, news broadcasts like Journal Français Facile. This is from RFE. In English, it's RFI. These are slower paced, and these are really well aimed at language learners to catch words and phrases. French news can be really helpful for the listening section. You should definitely work through, the past TCF and TEF listening sections. This will give you an idea of how the exam goes. Like, it will give you just on how the format is, what are the type of questions that is asked, what is the length of the question, of the audio, I mean. So when you practice, pause and replay questions until you understand, you will get a lot of practice. I would, scour through every single audio video that is out there on YouTube for the TEF and TCF exam. And even if I was going for the the TEF exam, then I would still prepare on the TCF questions as well, because it's language at the end of the day, and it's very important that all the questions are pretty similar in these two exams. So all the more resources. So it is good if you can do that. Also, another thing I would like to suggest here is, what I personally did was I did a lot of DELF B2 and DALF C1 questions as well, because I ran out of the resources for TEF and TCF practice. So I used to uh, listen to DELF structure as well. It is just a lot more content. It will make you comfortable with listening to longer audios, which is very, very necessary for your 30 to 31 to 40 questions in the comprehensive oral section. Another strategy is active listening with transcripts. Pick a podcast or an audio clip or any of the channel that I spoke about previously. You will see that, all of these videos come with a transcript. Listen to it first without reading, yes, and then listen again with the transcript. This will help you connect the spoken words and basically how they are written. This will also improve your listening as well as your vocabulary. And I think this is a very, very good strategy, because initially I used to not personally use transcript because I felt like, okay, no, I don't want to see what is written. Rather, I want to crack it just by hearing it. But I think that you will not be able to progress faster, because when you see a particular word and you hear the same word, what happens is your mind makes a mental map of, or an image of how it is formed, and then next time around you'll be able to identify how that when you pronounce that word, you'll be able to identify what that word is. And along with this, you will also learn the orthograph, that is the spellings along with your accent. So I highly recommend that you listen to audios with transcripts every day when you do practices. And that takes me to my next point, which is mastering the French accent and pronunciation. One of the biggest challenges in French is understanding the different accents and pronunciations, because it is so different to English. So for this, if you watch a lot of movies, French movies and French series with subtitles, you will get the double benefit of listening and reading at the same time. There are a lot of good movies, and I have made a different video on movies and series that you should watch. But series like Lupin and Call My Agent, which is the Pourcent. Movies like that are really good, and here you will be able to pay attention to the intonation and how the words sort of blend together in speech while a native French speaker is speaking. There's another bit more intense but super effective strategy, which is the shadowing technique. You can find any short audio clip, maybe from a TED talk in French or a scene of a movie or anything, and listen to it. Listen to one section or one sentence, and then you pause it and try to mimic the speaker exactly. Just pause and repeat the way that they are doing, right from the rhythm, the tone, and the stress on those particular words. This will not only improve your listening but also your speaking, because you become a lot more confident and fluent in that pronunciation. Franco Lab from TV Saint Monde is also a very good resource to get used to different accents in French. It offers like a variety of videos from the French speaking countries, because the French in Quebec versus the French in Canada, sorry, in France is pretty different. And with the new pattern of TF exam, they have inculcated a lot more of the Quebecois accent, and it's very important for you to start getting used to different accents. And this is a very good resource, Franco Lab, for you to get accustomed to different dialects and pronunciation. So I really recommend this. Now, dictation is an old school method, I know, but it really works wonders with language learners, because you can complement the shadowing technique with the dictation practice, because that is also really effective. So, what you do is you listen to a short audio clip, pause it, and write down what you heard. Then, what you can do is you can take out the transcript and check how close you were to what you heard. Sites like Francais Facile offer dictation exercises which are tailored to like specific levels. So if you are at B1 level, then you can opt for audios that are at B1 level. So this will help you understand if you're getting the word right, if your pronunciation is correct, and if your orthograph is correct, and how close you are, or if you're not, repeat the same activity and then until you get to the right answer. So, all these strategies would be some really active ways to improve your French. Apart from this, you can also incorporate listening into your daily routine. Things like when you go out for a commute or a walk, you can use that time to listen French. Whether it's a podcast or music or whatever it is, let it keep running in your head. Let that voice, the tone keep constantly running so that it goes into your subconscious mind. While you're cooking, cleaning, just chilling, whatever it is, you can just play some French sounds or movie or anything in the background. Even if you're not fully paying attention, your brain is still picking up patterns and sounds. Another interesting strategy is to speak with native speakers, which is one of the best ways to improve your listening. I know how much of an effect it has had on my speaking and listening, because I practiced a lot with native speakers. So I highly recommend you to converse with native speakers if you have the chance, so that you can yourself see how much you've progressed significantly. So if you're looking for native speakers, you can reach out to me. I'll be able to help you with finding some native instructors for you to converse with them. At the B2 and B1 level, you should start focusing on understanding the context and guessing the meaning, even if you don't follow every single word. So it's basically getting the gist of what it is. Practice picking up the tone. Like, for example, there are questions like, is this person happy with this statement or not? So when there are questions like that, try to pick up what their tone is, the way, are they sounding angry? Are they sounding cheerful? Things like that. Basically, you have to focus on getting the gist or the context of that phrase, and you will be able to identify what that means. For example, if someone says, il fait un froid de canard, you might not know what exactly it means, but you can say that, this person is talking about how cold it is or how extremely cold it is. So you try to focus on that, and try to also focus on cultural nuances, and you will get a lot of this by listening to movies and series, because you'll be able to understand how they speak in their culture. So after listening to a segment, what you can do is you can try to summarize what you heard in your own words. This will be really efficient. So let's say, for example, you watch like a 10-minute video of Sept jours sur le planète. At the end of it, you can, sit by yourself and try to rephrase what the video was all about in French, and that way it will push you to help you understand speaking, as well as you will try to sort of make a summary of what did you hear. News in Slow French is another fantastic resource where news is spoken at a slower pace, which makes it easier for the listeners to understand and basically pick up context. And it's really in line with the pattern of your exam. So, these were all of the resources that I recommend when you are at B1 and B2 level. Yes, I can understand that it can be a little overwhelming, but take it one at a time. Try to test out what suits you, what you find effective, and then try to, inculcate that in your learning pattern and your learning schedule. Because it's very important for you to be patient and consistent, and make sure that you are also enjoying what you are studying. So every single skill is interrelated to the other. So if you focus only on listening, by default you will also start progressing in speaking because of all of the different resources that I spoke about. And it will automatically improve your vocabulary, which will improve your reading, so on and so forth. So, this was all about the different resources and strategies that you can use to improve your listening. If you're looking for any guidance, you can reach out to me by scheduling a session. I will leave the link in the description below. That's it for today. Good luck on your learning journey. I'll see you in the next one. Abiento.